Oh man, Spyderco. They're just awesome. I really, really do like Spyderco. Their company makes some good stuff. Really good stuff. The only thing that I hear nightmares about, though, is that their customer service at their headquarters is not that great. So that's kind of it's kind of a downer. So let's get into it, everybody. Let's talk blades because that's what we're into. Before I ramble on a subject that doesn't really need to belong in this channel or on this video, I should say. Um, love the company. Love the company so much. So with that being said, this knife is a very special one. And I'm lucky to have this one in my channel because it was discontinued a few years back. Don't know the exact number. All I know is that I saw it and I absolutely wanted it. But what's unfortunate was the fact that finding it at the right price. Now, this type of knife goes pretty expensive. I think the last price tag I saw for it was probably around about between 3 and 5. It's pretty ridiculous. 3 being the cheapest, if you can get it in great condition but still used. 5 being brand new in the box, all the paperwork and all that good and happy stuff, untouched blade. It's pretty difficult to find. So this one's a used one. Actually lucky to come across it. This best price I can come up with. So anyways, let's go in and take a look at it. Sorry. Spyderco, I know the box is a bit beat up. Like I said, it's used. But it came in its original box. And this is the Spyderco Ulize. Ulize? Somebody said it in a very fancy way. I guess because I said it Ulize. And someone else said it's Ulize or something like that. I can't remember the way he said it, but it was made by 2 German guys. One being an ex, I shouldn't say ex, I want to say he's still a police officer. One being a German police officer, and the other one being a knife designer. They came together and designed this knife for the German police, I believe. As far as I'm, concerned, that's strange. I thought there was going to be. Okay, maybe it didn't come with the paperwork. But that's okay. This came with the knife and the bubble wrap. The funny thing is, when it got to me, it wasn't even in the bubble wrap. It was sitting on top of it. But that's fine. No problem. I got the knife, and it is great. This box can be tossed because it's in rough condition, and I don't plan on keeping that. So this is the main prize. So you're looking at the... And if I'm saying it wrong, please correct me. I don't mind that. I just want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it correctly. I say Ulize. Somebody's going to be like, it's Ulize or Ulize or Ulize. Whatever the frick it is. Because I've been corrected like 3 different times by 3 different people. I read it as Ulize. So, and that might be wrong. So, it's just a little bit of irritated confusion. So here it is. Very nice. I really do like this knife very much because it's got, to me, it's like a pistol grip kind of handle. Slightly, not completely, but it's got that feel to it, in my opinion. And I think that's what they were going for. They were going for, I guess, a police kind of knife. This is fantastic. It really is. It's over 4 inches long on the blade. It's got a slight recurve on there. You got the designer's mark right here. I'm not going to say their names. I'm sorry. I don't want to butcher it any more than I already have. But, yeah, you got the maker's initials right there. If you want to, you can look it up. I've looked it up. I've read a little bit about it, and I can't pronounce the names. I'm not good at German. I'm sorry. But like I said, it was designed by 2 German guys, one being a police officer, the other one being a knife designer, and they come up with this. And it's no longer in production. Apparently, you can only get it on the secondary market if you're lucky to find it. But it is made in Seki City, Japan. You can see that right there. It is a VG10, obviously Spyderco, and then you got the Spyderco emblem right there. thumb hole opening, which is fantastic. This knife is super smooth out of the box. I had to tighten some of the screws because I noticed that one of the screws was sticking out a little bit. So I had to go in there and kind of just touch it up. But what do you expect? It's a used knife, but very lightly used. The pocket clip was surprisingly in good condition. It's not all marred up, and it wasn't repainted. I can tell when people do that, and when they do it, they do a very tacky job at it. The pocket clip wasn't switched on anything. It stayed on the right-hand pocket carry. You got the steel liners in there. You got G10 sandwiched on that, and it looks nice. Look at that. That finish on there. It looks all one solid construction when it's not. It's actually all sandwiched together, but they buffed it in there. There is a little bit of a scratch right there. If you can see that right at my finger right here. A little bit of a scratch right there. That could be just from being in the pocket and bumping up against whatever he was carrying, the individual was carrying. It's okay, though. The blade hasn't been touched at all. And it's only been touched a little bit as far as very, very light use, which is how I use my knives. I try to make sure that I don't really, really beat on my knives unless I really have to. I try not to do that. A lot of people give me crap about it. They're sitting there like, oh, that means you don't use your knife. No, that means that I just take better care of my knives and I use them for what they're for. I don't pry with them. I don't use it as a screwdriver. I use the knife for cutting when I know it's capable of cutting. I'm not going to sit here and whittle wood with it all day because I want to make a Trojan horse or whatever the hell a lot of people do with the abuse on a knife. To me, I just don't feel it's completely necessary for me. But that doesn't mean that I don't use my knives. I do use them. I just don't beat on them like some people. I know a guy who owned maybe 3 knives, and every knife, it just makes me sick every time he uses his knife for everything. I mean, everything. Hey, you use your knife how the way you want to, and I don't have a problem with that. The point is there's 2 kinds of people. There's that one kind of person that likes to use their knives lightly and collect them. It's me, and there are people like that out there. And there's other guys who use their knives and abuse their knives, but they still love their knives. Those people, there's nothing wrong with. And of course, there's that gray area of people that are kind of in between. And those people, I can go through a whole list. They don't care. They have a knife because they just have it, or it was given to them, and they just use it, but they don't care about it. They like it. It's in their pocket, but they can live without it. They're like those kind of people. I'm a guy who enjoys collecting them, all right? You guys collect baseball cards, expired gum. I don't know what you guys collect, all right? I collect knives, all right? There's a dude that I knew that collected bottle caps, and he had a trunk full of, thousands of bottle caps from just everything you can imagine. It's just amazing how many, and I think some of those bottle caps are worth money because of how old they are. I got another guy who collects coins, and he's got a treasure trove of just different coins. Any coin you can think of. Who am I? I like collecting knives. But yes, knives are meant to be used. And this knife is a beautiful thing to use. If you can get over it does kind of weigh a bit. We'll get into the specs. And it is a bit long. It's a little bit over 4 inches. And a lot of people don't like carrying 4-inch knives. I still don't really understand. I've always carried 4-inch knives, but I am starting to get into carrying smaller knives. And that's because it's a lot lighter in the pocket. It leaves a smaller footprint, so you have more room in the pocket for whatever you want to use it for. And on top of that, it still gets the job done. It's just a smaller blade, and you can still use it for everything on top of possible self-defense if you ever really need to, which I hope and pray that no one ever has to. But hey, I've heard stories where knives actually saved lives. So anyways, this knife is badass. You got 4-way pocket carry on it. You got the Boyd detent back lock on this bad guy. It's just really smooth. Nice and centered, even though it's a used knife. Yeah, I'm going to say it's pretty centered. If not, it might be leaning towards this side a little bit, but that's just a hair. Still a great knife. And to compare it with size, I'm already going a little bit too far in the video. This is huge. I'm going to bring out my Police, the original Spyderco Police, which is right here. basically take the police and turn it into this guy right here. Or, just have it go foreign. Which, you know what? Here, I'm going to bring in the other police, the original. I shouldn't say original. I think this was the police 4. I don't know. Big knife, right? Big knife. You got the American, you got the German. Awesome stuff. Really, really good. This kind of knife is the type that I would carry if I knew that they were like, okay, you can't have a fixed blade for self-defense, but you can have a folder. I'd be like, carry the Ulize or the regular police, or maybe even a matriarch too. Whatever, this is one of those nice knives. You can, stabby, slicey, cutty. Anyways, so within the lineup right here, put these two, push them back just a tad, so that way you guys can see that this guy is kind of its own category, because the handle is more crescent, so it's got that nice aggressive curve on there, and it has a bit of a recurve on the blade. Gives it a bunch of character right there. So you got a little bit of belly towards the top. And that's kind of an aggressive look to me. That's really good. It almost has like a pelican type of beak look to it, but it works very well. Works very, very well. And it's nice. It really does feel comfortable in the hand. The jimping is in the right area up here, and it just feels great. It really does. It does feel like an extension of your appendage. So it's really good. Now, my only gripe that I would have to say is obviously the weight's going to be a little bit of a contributing factor, and the size. But as long as that doesn't bother you, then it shouldn't really matter. These are full flat ground, so they're a little bit stranger to close in a funky way. Get into the specs. Ooh, hit the camera. Sorry about that. So I gave you my personal opinion on this knife. Now I can tell you right now. I mean, this thing is a good collector piece. It's just a little bit harder to find. 4.66 ounces, still under 5 ounces for its size. So it's got some weight, but not too much. It's just right. And get into the length. This is going to be a little bit weird because it's so long. Just bear with me here. So the blade length, you're looking at, 4 1/8 inches on blade length, with an overall 9.5 inches solid with the knife deployed fully. At the handle, you're looking at close to 5.5 inches. But like I said, that's all just depending on what you expect out of this. Great knife. I'm glad to have it in my collection. It does show just a tiny bit of wear on the apex, but that's because, well, it was used, but lightly. If I want to straighten out that apex, I can, but I really don't want to. It's still a working edge, and a really good one at that. So you're looking at 9.6 on the handle, and then, on the blade, you're looking at a 2.7, so relatively slim for its size. Good stuff. I really do enjoy this knife. And that's one thing that I absolutely hate. When knife companies come out with awesome knives and then they stop production on them. Man, I hate that. It just makes them that much more collectible and a little bit more harder to get. But good thing, there's, a secondary market so you can go searching on and waiting and trying to find and assess whether or not you want to spend that kind of money. I wish you luck if you're trying to find this knife. I've been trying to find this knife for a long time, and I'm very, very happy to have it now. The only issue is, like I said, it's just kind of a rare bird. So I think there's one. It's the Endura Wave full serrated Endura Wave I've been trying to look for, and I've been able to find it on a certain website, but you have to sign up, and I don't want to have to go through all that. And it's not a normal website where you can just buy it. You have to kind of bid for it, and I don't like that. And it's not eBay. It's some other weird site. So kind of sketch, and I don't know. But I'm waiting for that one to pop up. I might get it. So I really do. I would like it. Just finding those little rare ones, it's, sometimes it's difficult. But yeah, this one's great. If you're able to find it, you're able to get it, I'd say get it. Try not to wait too long, because when it's gone, it's gone. And it can be a real pain in the butt. What's really funny is there was a story about a guy. I don't remember where. I think I read it on a. Oh man, where was it? Was it on a video? I think it was either on a video. Oh man, it was such a long time ago. Anyways, there was a story about a guy, police officer, who had the Spyderco, the regular police, the original one with the stainless steel handle. He went to go and grab it out of his pocket, because I guess he wasn't able to get to his service pistol. And he pulled the knife out of his pocket. And the assailant was, I guess they were kind of in like a little bit of a, not a dispute, more or less. The guy was starting to get a little crazy on him, and he was trying to grab for his gun. So in his opposite hand, he had the Spyderco police. So he went to try and get the police to try and ward him off with it, I guess, or use it. He went to get it, and when he went to try and open it, it opened, but the handle was so slick that the guy ended up, I guess he ended up pushing the blade somehow. I guess it got caught on the guy's leather jacket, and it was a really thick leather jacket, so he wasn't able to get, I guess at the angle that he was in, it pushed the blade into his hand, slid and sliced all 4 of his fingers open. And he said it wasn't a bad slice, but it was enough to where he knew that it was like, oh, let go. He had to drop it, he was able to get to a service pistol, and he was able to draw it. The guy, he did not die. He got the guy in cuffs, brought him in his, squad car, and his partner had to check out the damage done to his hand, because, there was a lot of blood everywhere, and he was like, where'd all this blood come from? The guy found out that it came from his fingers, and his partner was like, what did you do? And he explained it. I went to go grab for, he was grabbing for my service pistol. I went to go grab for my my secondary backup. And in my mind, I was like, why couldn't you pull out pepper spray or even a taser would have probably worked? But I guess, at the moment, you just go for whatever pops in your head, I guess. I don't know. It happened all so quickly to him. So I guess he grabbed for his knife, but he ended up getting cut. So that was probably the only bad story I've ever heard from any Spyderco knife ever harming the user. But this situation was, there's a couple of interesting elements in this kind of story. One being the blade being so long. And secondly, depending on how close you are to the assailant, how you draw the knife really does matter. If you're able to draw the knife sufficiently, you want to be able to have enough time, not only just to open your knife, but to also have a good grip on your knife. Of course, there's also the element of the fact that the knife didn't have too much grip because it was all metal. So he didn't really have much grip on the handle, so it slid. Being in a situation like that and you're in the heat of the moment, a lot can happen. So hearing that kind of just, it makes me kind of just grit my teeth like, oh man, like that's, wow, you cut yourself with your own knife. And it was in a way where you would least expect it to happen, because you should have control of that. But because of it being, I remember the police officer said, if I could choose, I get the G10 version of the police and not the all steel handle. So that makes complete sense. So that's why I opt out and got this police with the G10. It's just better. I have better grip. There's better traction. And there's just no way to drop this or even lose it. If you're ever in a situation where you need to draw a knife as your weapon, you want to make sure that you practice with it. You want to be as familiar with it as possible, so that way you know how to use it, not just as a tool, but as a last resort weapon that you can use to defend yourself with. And you need to be able to be familiar with it enough so you don't end up making an accident like that happen. Of course, accidents happen even to professionals. They make accidents all the time when they least expect it, and then they always make up excuses. But even a trained professional can make an accident happen. And being the police officer that he was, he was saying something to the extent of, I've done this so many times, there's no way, and then all of a sudden it happened, so it's one of those things just to be aware of. Just be careful, obviously, with a blade this size. You know, is this the ideal self-defense knife? Well, I guess that all depends on the person who's, you know, you are, if this is something that's good for that. But, you know, I guess that is debatable. Anyways, go ahead and slash that like button, stab that subscribe, slice that bell icon, so you guys are notified anytime that I post new stuff. And in these craziest times, everybody, please be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I will see you all awesome people in the next video.